Hello again. This is Victoria Pendragon, and welcome to my alternate reality. I wanted to tell you a story today about something that happened back in the 90s. I am, as you know, an artist, and at the time I had scleroderma. It was difficult for me to paint with scleroderma because my hands, which are still like this, but at that time were just like hooks. They didn't move at all, and they were very, very, very painful. To hold a brush, I had to put foam around my brushes and kind of wedge them in. It didn't feel good, but it was functional. And I was, at that point, in the early stages of the disease process and had not at all reconciled with it. So I was angry and maintaining anger for a long time, for me at least, led to a very unhappy state of mind. Logical, I suppose. And for all my life, and I've mentioned this before, I rose in the morning ready to go. I'm just thrilled to be alive for no apparent reason in many cases. But I would see the sun and it was like, I'm ready to start another day. And when I got scleroderma, what happened was I started getting kind of pissed off in the morning because I didn't want to go another day. I wanted to die. But I did get up and I did connect with the sun. But this one morning, I didn't even want to get up. There was nothing for me, nothing left. And so I lay there in bed and I thought to myself, maybe this is depression. Maybe this, I'd heard that people didn't want to get up out of bed in the morning when they were depressed. I thought, well, if anybody has a right to be depressed, I do. So I'm just going to lie here. Because maybe if I lie here long enough, I'll just die. So I just lay there. And I don't know how long I lay there. Time didn't matter to me. Nothing mattered to me. All of a sudden, however, a vision flashed into my mind, and it was a picture of a kind of sandy ground with 7 scrubby-looking, ugly bushes, 4 in the back, 3 in the front. And underneath it, words. And the words said, 7 reasons to live. And I got up. I am not sure what happened that day, but I got up like I was propelled up. And I threw my arms, such as I could, which was probably a bit like this, up into the air. And I said to the universe, make me an open channel. I don't even know where that came from. Certainly not at that time. Probably came from now. And with that, I got dressed, brushed my teeth, and went downstairs and painted that image. Because it felt important. It felt very important. And painted it, framed it. It hung on the wall for a couple of years. After, I was better, I was recovered, but my healing paintings were very much a part of my life. And one day, I was coming home from my job, and I was behind a car that had what I now know, it was a long rainbow sticker. And I didn't know about rainbows being used for the gay and lesbian movement at the time, because I don't watch television, never did. And so I wasn't really much in with what was going on. And I thought, wow, I want a bumper sticker like that. The rainbow, all the colors, was beautiful. So it just so happened this car turned into the same townhouse development where I was living. I turned in after it because I lived there. Only I followed the car into the place where I saw this young girl get out of it. And she was perhaps 20 years younger than I, very sweet. And I said, "Excuse me, can you tell me where I might get a bumper sticker like that?" And she told me where she had gotten hers, and I took note of that. And I thanked her very much. And I said, I had opened by saying, "I know this is really strange, but I live here too, and I live around the corner. I'm an artist. Come over and see my painting sometime." You know, so she didn't think I was a complete freak, which may not be true. But she said, I told her where I lived, because it seemed fair. I had stalked her to her house. So a few months later, out of nowhere, at about the same time in the afternoon, because it's probably when she came home from work as well, there's a knock on my door, and I go to the door, and there she is. And I invited her in, and I said, you know, "Here's where my art is," because it was hanging all over the house. I said, walk around, look at it, take your time, make yourself at home. And she did. And I heard her exclaim at one point, just a soft, you know, kind of, "Oh." And so I came out of the room where I was, and she was looking at that painting, the one with the 7 scraggly bushes. And she said, "I needed to see this." And it turned out that she suffered from depression. Now, it doesn't say anything about being depressed, or that I thought I was depressed when I painted that on there. It just said 7 reasons to live. And I said, "Why?" You know, "Why is that important to you?" And she said that she told me that she was depressed, but then she said, "These are the exact colors that are in my bedroom." She said, and those are my favorite colors. And I had painted it. I wasn't even in the state when I painted that. There was no way. I had no connection with this girl until a few months before that. And she told me that she had been depressed, and that as soon as she saw this, there was something that just lifted her up. And I gave it to her, because clearly I was done with it, and clearly she needed it. And so she took it and she went away, and I never saw her again. And I hope that somewhere she's happy. A couple of years ago, when I made my first trip with my husband to Sedona, I saw the bushes. I didn't know they even exist. They were really, truly scraggly looking things. Not at all pretty. But there, on the trip from Phoenix to Sedona, on the hillsides, there are these bushes. And they're on hillsides, and so they're kind of stacked up in much the same way these had been, with 4 in the back and 3 in the front. And I recognized them right away. And it felt like then the whole thing had come full circle. It was an amazingly wonderful experience that covered many years of time, which is why I like it. It was like like a ribbon that just ran through time. So I wanted to share that with you today. I love you. Bye.